Welcome back, guys. Today is going to be a kind of a different video. Yes, I know we're back on Minecraft, which is great, you know. We are on the CBW world, and today I'm going to be showing you a few new locations that have been added since the tour video. And I'm also going to be sharing the lore that my girlfriend and I created over the last year and a half of doing this. Now, there are 3 separate worlds that we have done, one before this and one after this, but this has always been the main world that we've used. Well, so basically the first world is when we started. That was our first, that's when we first started playing Minecraft together, really. This world was our second world, but this kind of became our main world. And then the third world was something that we temporarily did while we were doing like one of our story arcs, or whatever you want to call it. So obviously I'm down here exploring for, I just wanted to come down here for a second. I know how to get out of here. So there are books scattered across the CBW that we are going to be reading as I share this lore with you. Now, we're still going to be expanding upon this lore quite a bit. Oh, there's an amethyst thing here that I didn't get all of. We will, I'll come back to that off camera sometime. And yeah, I'm very excited to share it. I think it's really cool. I'm really proud of it. I couldn't have done it without Jade. Jade is currently unavailable at the moment, but I already talked to her about making this video, and she said I could do this. So we're gonna head all the way back up, and I'm going to share with you guys the new locations, and then after I'm done reading the books, I'm going to show you guys the old worlds, or the other worlds, I should say. And yeah, I'm definitely really excited to be showing this, because I wanted to for a while, but I just never did, and now I think is a perfect time. And we are going to be starting Sea of Thieves, and it should, if everything goes according to plan, be airing the week of Thanksgiving. I will be out of town, so I'm going to try to record a few videos of that. And yeah. So right now we are going to go in through our entrance here. So we've added a few different things. Now, I think I live streamed a few weeks ago, and you saw me building the courthouse. So this is our school right here. You know, we just wanted to add it because, you know, since we're a town, I think it's a good idea that we added a school. Now, this isn't like a school, like, you know, a big building. This is just a schoolhouse, something you'd find in, you know, the house in the prairie days. So that's what we have there. And then all the way over here, we have the courthouse that I showed you guys, that I built on camera for you guys, which is pretty cool stuff. Let's go here. It's over there with the glass. Now, I know if you guys were here for the live stream, which I don't think really anybody came to, you saw this, but this is the courthouse. This acts as the mallet, because, you know, so that's going to be the bell you hit when you sentence the person to whatever. So yeah, over here is where our jail is going to be, but we haven't really done it yet. That's going to be happening pretty soon, I think. So yeah. This over here is Kmart. This is a you know, a grocery store that Jade built. It looks really good. I'm really proud of it. She's a really good builder. You know, you can tell the vast difference between what I make and what she makes, because, you know, her buildings are just so much better than mine. She will try to deny that, but it's just facts. She also built the fire department. You know, with that garage. Oops. And up here is where everyone gets changed and everyone points, there's stuff. You come down the pole, and yeah, we're gonna leave through the garage. Over here is the police station. So we come over here. This is a holding cell, or I don't know. This isn't the holding cell. This is the office. Over here is our holding cells. So if you're in trouble and you're waiting to be taken, that's where you'll go. I should change this to automatic. And I believe that's. Oh yeah, we also built a prison. We're gonna have we have a prison built, but now we got to just build the regular jail. That's all the way in the Nether. I can show that to you guys a bit later. That Jade and I built together, but she built majority of it. So now we're going to head over to the library, which is where our lore books are. This is the full public story for the CBW and its quest to eliminate all evil. There are books that are not yet available to the public, but will be in due time. Please take good care of these books, especially because some are very old. So, the CBW, in lore-wise, obviously, in real life, it's only about 1.5 years old. But, in the lore here, this place is over 150 years old. There are some books that I haven't written yet, primarily with some new characters, but the overall story has pretty much already been told, but I will be adding new lore, and Jade will also be adding new lore to this in due time. Right now, we're just not in our Minecraft phase. Like I said, we're going to be starting Sea of Thieves soon and stuff. So, without further ado, let's read the first book. Now, some of it might be a little cringe, but, you know, especially my books, like Jade wrote this one, it's really good. But mine are a little cringy, because I took a lot of inspiration. Like I said, I'm a huge Zelda fan, so a lot of this lore or whatever has been taken from Zelda. So actually, before I start reading, let me turn down the music because I don't want to have another situation where you guys can't hear me. So let's do that. There we go. Alright, without further ado, let's start reading. You may have heard of the CBW Warriors. If you haven't, keep reading. The CBW began in 2010 at the peak of the apocalypse. The group was formed by 2 survivors, Jade and Carter. Later, more survivors came along to help or get help. The most notable ones being Izzy, which is one of our friends, who joined in 2011. Luckily, stumbling along the base, helping build it up till her departure after the relocation following the end battle of 2020. That'll be discussed in Chapter 3. At their new base, they met new survivors, Jesse and Jaden, also 2 of our friends, who quickly became a huge part of the CBW and helped build the new base and found many resources while preparing for the next battle. There were more members who chose to hide their identity. Still, their contributions are undeniable. Following the battle, the CBW had to err on the side of caution due to the target on their backs, as enemies from the end appeared attempting to fool and destroy the new CBW, or the CBW, with no success. We will learn more about that. First, let's unravel this battle. So that's Chapter 1. Chapter 2. The cause of the apocalypse was unknown, and it was the CBW goal to find the answer. In 2012, they finally had their answer, or so they thought, when they discovered a nether portal. They thought that they solved the mystery. Sadly, it wasn't that simple. Although they did find something useful from the nether, they gathered lots of information over the years, including how to summon the wither. Thinking that was the solution, they strayed away from the base to summon the wither, but they underestimated its power. The Wither is strong with harsh attacks and powerful stamina, seeming to heal itself during battle. The fight was long and grueling. The aftermath left craters in the ground which are still there today. The damage was the least of their concern, as they saw the sky turn gray. Their battle was not over. The mystery was still unsolved. So, they went on a journey to find the real cause. It didn't take long, as they were pulled towards a portal. But this portal was not the one from before. It was the end. Alright, chapter 3. They knew they had their answer then. As they entered the portal, they found themselves surrounded by stone, and as they ventured further, they were surrounded by a familiar crowd of Endermen. In the sky, though, was something they never expected. A black dragon with glowing purple eyes peered down upon them. The eyes gave away exactly who they were up against. They had found the Ender Dragon. Something they thought was a myth or a scary story was right in front of them, in them waiting for a fight. Sorry, I'm gonna probably sound like I'm all over the place. I'm not gonna be able to listen to this without cringing a little bit, but I do not care. The adrenaline sat in for the two as Carter jumped into action with his crossbow while Jade used a sword to take down the Endermen. The battle was a tough one. At the close of Jade's Enderman fight, she joined Carter's battle with the already severely damaged dragon. Although the dragon was now weak, it continued to fight till it could no more. As it fell to the ground, Carter landed its final blow, sticking his sword through the dragon's head, concluding their fight. But that was not the end. Down south... Oh, wait. Chapter 4. The journey back home was paled in comparison to all they just had experienced. The sky was clear and the air finally thinned. Things went back to normal for a while, until their base was attacked by wardens. They had no idea who was responsible. They realized their base had too many cons to ignore. So I'm going to add to this real quick. Wardens, that is a little bit contradictory to what we discuss later on, but honestly, it's okay. This story is going to kind of make no sense throughout some of it. I like the story, but it is at some points very wishy-washy. But honestly, with some fixes, I could make this. Obviously not in Minecraft, because Minecraft movies at this point are very cringe. But I would love to see this made into a movie. It'd be pretty cool. But anyway, they had no idea who was responsible. They realized their base had too many cons to ignore. Snowy weather, too exposed, not enough resources, etc., etc. So, they decided to relocate. They traveled down south to a flower biome and made it their home, which is where we are now. As they continued with building, they found a big expanse under the basement. They were digging. After about 2 years, it was a big stronghold which housed many people. The only problem was they had no one else at their new home until they met JD, who was another one of our friends, who stayed very briefly but did build an escape chute. He disappeared one night and has not returned since. JD came on this world one time and never came back. He came onto the world, dicked around for a bit, built a base, and never came back. It was fun, though. He has been on here a couple times since, but... Alright. Anyway, where was I? Till they met JD, who stayed very briefly, but did build an escape chute. He disappeared... Okay. About 1 or 2 weeks later, Jesse and Jaden arrived at the house. They asked Jade for water and shelter. She hesitated, but quickly recognized the woman from high school and happily welcomed them. Jaden, her boyfriend of 10 years, was a skilled engineer. He helped modernize their house. Half a year later, the community is thriving. With lush cherry trees, a secure down nether portal, and a bustling community, they are getting closer to defeating the last Wither and Ender Dragon every day. That will make sense later on. That is because obviously, I thought we defeated the Wither and Ender Dragon. There actually ended up being 2, but you guys will see. And if there's anything that I didn't add or forgot to add, I will clear up the misunderstanding. So, Chapter 5. This is a long one, and so is this one. So, brace yourselves. Let me... Alright, let's do it. The CBW have started to become well known. Many villagers are offering assistance with building materials and new weapons. With monster attacks getting worse, the CBW started building borders to shield the CBW island. That's the big giant stone wall that you guys see. Relations between nations are at an all-time high, thanks to the peacekeeping agenda of the CBW. They go to towns, trade with people, and help train the armies against illager attacks. In return, they offer food, water, and their allegiance. Jaden started construction on roads, making travel around the island more efficient. CBW Island started to look more and more like a city every day. The vault was also added for extra security for valuables. They start to prepare to traverse the nether. Carter set out to the nether to look for wither skeleton skulls. He felt like he was being watched by someone or something. He turned around to see a grand fortress, full of hostile skeletons, that were unlike the ones above the bedrock. So, from what I understand, the nether is below the bedrock. So that's the above and below the bedrock thing. Is when I'm talking about underneath the bedrock, I'm talking about the nether. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. But from what I understand, and at least within this made-up lore, the nether is underneath the bedrock. These mobs bore stone swords, and if touched, your life will drain away. Carter snuck around, killing many blazes, ghasts, and both types of skeletons. After a while, he found 3 suitable skeletons. Now, all that is left is to drag the wither out and kill it. During Carter's nether expedition, an illager army attacked the CBW island. They almost caught Jade off guard, but they were too clumsy. They attacked her, but barely left a dent. She turned around and killed the intruders. After they buried the illagers, they continue to build up their stronghold. They erected a bar and grill. They also a fancy Italian restaurant called Impossibly Good. The following weeks turned the CBW island into a thriving city. With little to no hostile mobs, the time has come to prepare for one final fight with the Wither. During this time, the CBW started to dig deeper into the hidden cave systems and gather important items from ancient cities underground. They also started finding ancient debris, which after a lengthy process can be turned into netherite. Netherite is the only material that can surpass diamond that can surpass diamonds, period. As the days and weeks passed, relations and trade grew, and new militaries started to form. These new militaries fend off some of the enemies from getting into our island. In turn, they received more training and supplies. Jade and Carter's relationship also started to improve. They no longer bicker about the smaller things. They even enjoy each other. They enjoy each other. And they support each other through and through. Of course, they have their days, but they definitely love each other. A while back, Jade and Carter traveled back to their original island. They find it littered with dead wolves, horses, and llamas. This really irked them. They presumed either a wanderer came and stayed at their house, or Daniel did it to send a message. Again, that's a character that'll be introduced, I think, in this book, actually. Hold on. They decided to rest for a bit in a clean part of the house. However, the smell was still too strong for them, and Carter passed out. Carter fell into a really deep psychosis. He described waking up in 2019, seeing Jade with no recollection of the future 5 years. Obviously, he kept asking her if she remembered their engagement, or the dead dogs, or even the new base. However, it was all in vain. Jade looked at him with a concerned look. "Carter, are you on something?" she exclaimed. He started to believe he was stuck or that the last 5 years were a dream. However, after jumping off the tree, he snapped out of it and woke up. Jade comforted Carter and agreed to not go back inside the house. After hiring a cleanup crew for the dogs, they went home. Things settled down for a while. Jade, Jesse, Jaden, and Carter all took the next week to prepare for the Wither fight. Carter received a book with over 20 redstone blueprints. This will help modernize the CBW island. Jade has been focusing on tidying the island up with a brand new hot tub and pool, which they haven't seen since well before the end of the world. Jessie has been doing her room and has also been helping out with gathering materials for the resistance. Jaden has been building a castle in the deepest depths of the stronghold. He is also very efficient at finding diamonds and ancient debris. With all the preparations complete, they will find a remote place, drag the Wither out of the deepest pits of the Nether, and confront the first of two foes. It will be tough, but with the power of the 4 allies, there is hope of all of this finally ending. Story of Cameron. Okay, yeah, so this is going to explore a lot of different... this is going off the main book for a second. Story of Cameron. There is another person not previously mentioned. His name is Cameron. After Jade killed Daniel, he used the last of his power to drag Jade, Carter, and an accomplice Cameron into the illusion. It lasted 3 days. Carter was out collecting some iron and gold when a mysterious person named Cameron appeared at the door. He asked Jade about the beautiful cherry trees in their yard and asked to take some home. Jade, being suspicious, called and asked Carter about Cameron. Unlike Daniel, who Carter actually knew, he knows nothing of Cameron. In the past, Carter knew Daniel. He was a friend from school. Dan came to Carter and told him about a jar with a mysterious black liquid in it. The bottle had a message. "Give a sip to all of your teachers." CK told him not to, but he wouldn't listen. We were 12. We were stupid kids. When they went back inside, the liquid in the jar looked like it came to life, and it grew tendrils and opened a small portal, and it grabbed our teacher, Mr. Johnson, went down his throat, and up to his brain. That portal that was in the jar closed up. They stared at it. They stared at that empty vial in complete shock. Mr. Johnson stood up and attacked 5 more teachers, killing them instantly. CK turned around. CK is Carter. CK turned around to see Daniel with a frown on his face. He said, "I'm sorry, I had to." He told Carter his family was promised protection and that he would be fleeing. He didn't see Daniel again until he saw his corpse after Jade killed him. Now, back to Cameron. Jade felt a bit relieved to hear Cameron wasn't an enemy. However, she was still suspicious. She kept seeing him appear and disappear, which was concerning. She asked Carter to hurry home, so he started heading that way. Cameron noticed this and conjured a plan. Tricking Jade would be a challenge, but Cameron knew this was all an illusion, and he was in control. Carter returned home and reconciled with Jade. 5 minutes go by. Boom! The top of the house flies off. This led into them fleeing to a nearby village. Keep in mind, they have no idea this is an illusion. They sit in a house and realize there's no bed. Jade went outside and went to go find one. She heard Carter scream. She rushed back. She saw Carter engulfed in light, and he exploded, leaving no trace of a body. Jade presumed him dead, but before she could grieve, zombies started killing villagers. She ran back to her exploded house to come face to face with Cameron. He reached out to Jade and explained that the world was ending that night. He said, "The only way you'll see 50 is if you'll marry me and conquer with Lady Dragon." She was mortified. but kept her composure. "Fine, I'll marry you," she sighed. He took her hand, got eloped in the most awkward way, and he shared his power with her. He spawned enemies and even dragged out a wither. He killed hundreds of men, women, and children. After a while, they hit the Za together. This weekend, this weakened his power, and she instantly hatched a plan to put some Za in his food and eliminate his influence. She fed him about 100 grams of it from the massive garden under the love house. This worked. The monsters disappeared, and he quickly caught on. He lunged at her, but Cameron's fate was sealed, it seemed. After Jade pierced his heart, she returned outside and saw Carter fall from the sky. She lunged to him, hugging him and kissing him. "What happened to you?" she demanded. He explained that he was presumptively trapped in a pocket dimension, floating in a void. All of a sudden, they wake up in their respective beds. They knew it was more than a bad dream. They both recited the exact same events from their POVs. Several months later, a mysterious figure approached Jade while Carter was out. This was planned as he wanted her alone. She noticed him walking on water. She knew who it was. "I'm impressed. You were able to beat me and Daniel's illusion." He assured her Daniel was dead. The illusion ending was the final death of Daniel's brain. "Your souls were taken." "What the heck do you mean, Cameron?" she exclaimed. "It was easy. He plucked them in your sleep. With the last of his magic." He paused. They returned to you when Daniel died. Without him around, his dimension couldn't survive. Took a page out of, what's that show called? The one where there's like curses and fingers, that one. Jujutsu Kaisen. We took a page out of Jujutsu Kaisen's book. He upped the ante and threatened to take her body to bring to the end. He upped the ante and threatened to take her body to bring the Ender Dragon out. He knew this was impossible. Jade screamed and dealt some blows to Cameron. He lifted his fingers and killed Carter's parrot with lightning. He laughed, telling Jade he wanted to fight one-on-one. No armor. The fight ended in seconds. Jade stabbed him in the neck, and it seared his skin and bones thanks to enchantments. In his dying breath, he revealed that he and Daniel faked their loyalty and wanted to find and train the ones that could end the Lady Dragon's reign. He revealed Lady Dragon had 3 more sons in training. After this, Cameron and Daniel were truly dead. Main story. With Dan and Cam finally in the past, the CBW is preparing to take down the Wither. Jade, Jaden, and Carter all traveled to a remote cherry biome. Jessie stayed back to work on her bedroom. They dragged the Wither from its pit in the Nether and started unleashing attacks on it. The Wither started to attack by summoning those same skeletons from the Nether. This fight was over a lot quicker than the last Wither fight. With powerful bows, they pierced the Wither's skin, bringing it to its knees. With diamond and netherite combined, they landed the final blow on the Wither, the final boss of the Nether. They retrieved a Nether star from the body and made a beacon. I spelled beacon wrong, but who cares? Now, all that's left to do is to prepare to once and for all destroy Lady Dragon. Weeks passed, and preparations were almost complete. Jessie and Jaden returned to their original home, far east. They trusted the CBW on the task at hand. Events also occurred with a man named Mr. Smith, but that is confidential. We took action by locating the stronghold and finding a portal to the end. At last, we were in the end dimension. We drew our swords and started to destroy her magic crystals. After a long battle, the lady was left vulnerable. Jade would land the final blow and eradicate Lady Dragon. Carter and Jade would explore the end city and find a pair of elytras, enabling flight. They return home, the land finally at peace. Things would seem well, but Jade, Carter, and the rest of the CBW were not out of the woods yet. They must remain on high alert at all times. Hopefully there are no future attacks. This ends our story. Thank you for reading. This is the end of the main set. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. I know that was a lot. There is a whole obviously that was the end of because there was only 5 books initially, but there is a 6th. So this book right here we will read as our last book, but there are a few other books around here that we need to read. The Death of a Close Ally. The Wither fight was not as hard as I imagined it would be. The 3 of us battered it within the first hour. I assume it was mainly thanks to the upgrade in armor we had this time around. We collected the Nether Star from the corpse of the Wither and studied it. Last time we saw one was in 2020, 3 days before we took on Lady Dragon's first son. We knew it was the source of the Wither's power, but not that we could use it to empower us. For the better, we found a mural describing how to build a beacon. We needed 8 stacks of either iron, gold, diamond, emerald, or netherite blocks. Thankfully, which one didn't matter, so we opted for the easiest one, iron. We went to go look for the iron until our closest ally heard what we were doing. They came over with 8 stacks of iron to repay their debt. I'm so grateful to this day. Lady Dragon was not happy with this. This happened in between the Nether fight, or the Wither fight, and the Lady Dragon fight. She worked at prying open a hole before to no avail. However, this time she was able to muster enough power to send forth God knows how many bombs. This absolutely annihilated the village, and ripped a chasm pretty deep into the ground. Luckily, she could only do it for a moment, and the portal closed up. But it's still scary that her powers have grown this much. Even with the Withers dead, from the ruins, a remaining survivor named Eduardo greeted us. He asked what happened, and we had to quickly explain the situation. He agreed to work as our librarian at the CBW library in exchange for the repair of his house. This is a nice arrangement, and I'm glad not everyone was incinerated in the blast. My respect for this village is unparalleled. May the souls of the fallen rest in peace. CK of the CBW. Okay. Now. Oh, that's our sex library books. All right. So, written March 3rd, 2024. Truth about the CBW relocation and Ender Dragon revelation. During the end battle of 2020, there was something left out. When the portal sucked Jade and Carter in, one of Jade's wolves were also taken. It was in this fight that Jade's wolf was killed by the Ender Dragon. This is the main cause of our departure. As of 2024, we have come to an interesting revelation. The dragon we fought was only the son of our true enemy. She is not pleased with the CBW. With the death of her son, we faced multiple attacks, mainly Daniel, who attacked Jade while Carter was out. Alright, 1 second. Alright. This is another pretty long book. So this book right here is Jade's backstory. 1. The beginning. I will never forget the day it happened. The day my life was taken from me, and I had to fight for it back. The day so many lives were taken for good, and the day I lost everything. I was sitting in my living room when it happened, cuddled up on the couch with my mother under the most fluffy blanket in the house, watching whatever VHS tape I picked that day. She called off work to spend the day comforting me after a stressful week of school, as if I really knew what stress was then. Too bad our TV was so old, or maybe we would have gotten the warning. Maybe if I had questioned why the tornado siren went off while the air was still. Maybe if Mom hadn't called off work where everyone was safe just because of me. So many maybes, but none of them change reality. As my mother and I sat on the couch, laughing at whatever joke was said, a hand came crashing through our window. My mother, thinking it was a thief, jumped up and ran to the window, ready for a fight. It was not a thief. Instead, staring back at her was a creature with rotting flesh and dead eyes. She realized too late as her wrist was caught in the creature's grip. I screamed louder than I ever have then. I ran toward her while she yelled at me to back away. I pulled and pulled, trying to pull her toward me, but it was useless. She looked into my eyes and she said, "Go on now. Save yourself. Live for me, Jade." It took all my strength to leave then. I knew my options, so I ran. I left her alone. No matter how far I ran, I could still hear her screams as they replayed over and over in my head. I could not sleep for a long time after that. 2. The escape. I ran till my legs gave out, crashing into the ground in a forest I had explored many times as a child. I crawled into a tree and rested against it, trying to silence the guilt plaguing my thoughts, trying to tune out the screams I heard to convince myself it was a dream. Nothing helped, and I knew nothing would, so I rested till my legs weren't numb, and continued to walk. Heading nowhere, I knew there was nowhere to run. I knew no one was coming to help. I knew I was as good as dead. As the sky turned black, I found a nice tree to climb, hiding in the branches, hoping to stay safe for the night. I grabbed some twigs and carved them into tiny spears with my pocket razor till my eyes burned. My tiredness grew rapidly as I felt my consciousness slowly drift. I heard a twig snap right under the tree. I jolt awake, quickly looking around for the cause. I expected to be met with those dead eyes, but instead my eyes locked with ones that looked like my own. Scared. But the eyes were more than that. Those eyes I knew because I had spent so many hours of my life looking into them. They were Carter's, the only friend I had left, although I had not known that yet. Our smiles appeared at the same time as our sighs of relief. He looked around before clumsily climbing the tree, almost knocking us both off in the process. Once he gets settled in on the same branch as I, lying facing me, completely unwrapped. Wait, what the fuck? Once he gets settled on the same branch as I, I think there was a little typo. That's okay. I lying facing me, completely wrapped around the branch. He says, I knew you'd be in here somewhere, although I barely heard it over his panting. Oh yeah? How'd you figure? He opened his mouth to speak, but before he could, the tree branch snapped and we both fell, screaming as we toppled down. That was our first mistake. All that noise attracted a lot of attention, and we knew we had to run. I gathered my sticks and I ran following Carter through the forest till we reached a river. We knew our time was limited. We did our best to make a small raft from sticks and logs. Near the water, we began sailing down the river. We went as far as our makeshift boat could take us and hopped off to land, collecting anything we could find: food, water, tools, materials for the shelter, etc., etc. That's when we started to build our first home. 3. The aftermath. Life was exhausting. It's hard to do anything when there always seems to be a monster behind your back, or another survivor stealing your things. When they're too scared to ask, or just don't care enough to. Though not every human interaction was bad, and honestly, I was glad to have some at all. I did meet Izzy, who I formed an alliance with, and also made a friend. Building up our shelter was easier with help, and figuring out how to defeat these creatures was more likely. It took us a long time to find the Nether. Carter and I stumbled into an inactive portal while mining for resources, and after accidentally igniting it, we were shocked. We were sucked inside. We knew this had to be where they came from. We began to study the Nether and slowly figure out how to destroy the portals. Years we spent, and over those years a lot of setbacks occurred, but we kept searching. 4. The loneliness. After so long of running a bare society, we struggled in more ways than one. I was lonely. I wasn't used to being so isolated. When Krem came along, our prisoner. Oh yeah, we get into some fucked up shit now. Our prisoner and supposed thief. I finally met someone new. I felt dependent, and my duties fell out of order. I noticed Carter had a different reaction. For a while, he was in delusion, power-hungry, and mad. When he found out about Krem and I, he couldn't have been more upset. Even then, I tried to explain her innocence. It fell on false ears until Carter's brain snapped back, but by then Krem was gone, as I let her go days previous. I did visit her village one more time, and she told me goodbye. I didn't see her for years after that. I felt alone again, but this time I knew I had to fight. I was going to stop this apocalypse for good. I began to train to take down whoever was behind this. I was ready for war. As the battle got closer, our team finally formed. The Cock and Ball Warriors. I tried so hard to say that with a straight face. 5. The internal battle. I never knew how scary it'd be. I wasn't born to be a warrior. I never wanted this. My whole life I ran away when I decided to stop. And oh wait, hold on. My whole life I ran away, and when I decided to stop, I'd already spent so long running away. Standing my ground felt impossible. My ears rang as we left the end. I collapsed on the ground, breathless and wounded. I wanted to say I was fearless. I slayed that dragon with one hand tied behind my back and my eyes closed. But the truth is, I've never been more scared in my life. Once I reached the surface, it was like my legs gave out and my head was spinning. I felt myself being carried away before my vision went black. I awoke next to Carter, and I just stared at him, so happy to be alive. I think that's when I realized I was in love. 6. The move. The brutal fight was finally over, but it was not our last one. That we found out pretty quickly. So we packed what we could carry and headed south in our boat, letting the waves move us to wherever we ended up. Days later, we left to shore. Wait, hold on. Sorry, let me restart. Days later, we left to shore, touring a village, telling them our findings, and becoming allies. We found a field close by to begin building our new home. As our base got bigger, so did our resources. We began to make many alliances and help many survivors in need. The CBW grew with more members. Whether they were fellow warriors or part of our resources team, we found strong warriors, Jesse and Jaden promising victory. Our new life was finally flourishing, but we can't lose sight of the battle ahead of us. 7. The enemy. This time we knew what we were up against, and we were going to be ready, but I wasn't ready for the enemy to come to us. The Ender Dragon sent for us as her most powerful warrior, Daniel, came to me after holding me hostage while trying to beat the knowledge out of me while Carter was away. I played innocent till I had him slightly convinced, and when I found my moment, I led him to a storage room and quickly shut the door, which could only be opened from one side. I didn't open it until I threw poison down the chute, waiting for his vision to blur before running in and getting his neck. Carter finally arrived shortly after. He helped me clean the mess and threw Daniel's body into a lava lake in the Nether. Sometimes I convince myself he's still alive down there, just waiting to float to the surface. 8. The growth. While preparing for battle, we also built an amazing community. Many friends passed through and helped us build up our island. Many also stayed with us to stay safe from the mobs. Our world filled with our world filled with more day by day. And the more that portal opened, the more we knew we needed to be ready for battle. We are now reaching the end of our journey, and every day we were closer to getting through. All I know is that when that portal opens, I will be ready. 9. The plan. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, have my own business, just like my mother. My plan after this battle is to finally fully open my flower shop and restaurant, finally relax from the fighting, and do what I've always dreamed of. I want to get married and finally get the rest together without the thought of our deteriorating world. I know this day will come soon. Jade, March 3rd, 2024. Yeah, Jade did a really good job at writing her backstory. Yeah, when I read, I stutter a lot, so don't mind that, and I'm sorry. But yeah, this lore is, I'm really proud of it. I like it. So, Book of Thoughts and Discoveries are hidden around. So this is like a little Easter egg hunt. Now, obviously, I know where all of them are, so it's, a little different. So, let's start with Volume 1. So, if you see here, we're going to be looking for 93, 49, 626. So that means we need to go this way. I have a YouTube video in the background, so that's what that sound is, if you're wondering. But anyway, now we're going to enter the code to our house. Open the door. Open that door. This lock is from like this redstone lock is from like 2010, so that's why it's so basic. So I had to improvise a little bit because you could only lock it from one way. So now we're back in the house. So now Volume 1 will be located in my bedroom. Here we are. Book of Thoughts and Discoveries, Volume 1 of 3. Thought 1. I can't tell if this is excitement or fear. Every day, the CBW gets closer to ending the dragon. Jade and Jaden gave critical help during the Wither fight, and I could not be more grateful. We have made many discoveries. Let's start with the more grim stuff, then work our way to the good stuff. Note, these are just little parts of the story. If you wish to see the full stories, go to the CBW library. Discovery 1. After the defeat of the Ender Dragon, we thought it was finally over. It was revealed by a now deceased enemy of ours, Daniel, that the enemy we killed was only the son of the actual dragon. Thought 2. I was always very scared growing up. I always backed away from things that seemed to be too difficult. I don't want to tell Jade this, but I do not want to fight this dragon. I don't want to risk dying, or worse, Jade dying. I know this is our fate. We were destined to end this for good. If not us, then our children will. He killed her son, and both of these wretched withers. Wait. We killed her son, and both of those wretched withers. I pray every day that we win this fight, and that life can return to somewhat normal. I love you, Jade. Discovery 2. We uncovered another massive expanse under our house in between the strip club and Jade's new house bedroom. I don't know why it did that. It's probably because it's a realm. Our house is getting as big as ever, and I'm so proud that we built it with our own hands. Alright. Volume 2. This one won't be given away as easily. You need to go to -27, 67, and question mark. So, let's get out of here. Actually, we'll just exit through this way. hello. Alright guys, I had to make a cut because I had to run and do something for a little bit, but now we are back, and we are going to go to Volume 2 of our books. So, we've read a good majority of the books, so we should almost be done, and then I will give the tour of the 2 other houses, or the 2 other worlds. None of the worlds are as big as this one, though, I'm sure, as you can tell. So now we're gonna be going to these coordinates that we found right here at this house. If I can find my way in. Okay. So right now, let me go turn my TV down because it's a bit loud. Okay. So let's go ahead and read the second volume. Oh no, this is volume 3? Oh, no, this is volume 2. Oh, no, Volume 3 is the next one. I'm dumb. Books of Thoughts and Discoveries, Volume 2 of 3. Thought 3. I have bad dreams at night. I mean terrifying ones. The earth cracks open, exposing the nether to our real world. The sky cracks open, and a huge dragon consumes the land. I hope this isn't a vision of the future and that this is all just a bad dream. Discovery 3. We tend to find abandoned ships in the ocean. They sometimes contain treasure maps that lead us to chests containing the heart of the sea. These heart of the seas make it possible to make something called a conduit, which allows you to breathe underwater, as long as you are within a certain distance. I hope to learn how to make it function, so we can expand under the seas. I have been wondering from the second we found these ships, who sailed these seas, and why did they sink? We might not ever get a real answer, but it's safe to assume that it had something to do with Lady Dragon. Thought 4. I can't stop thinking about Daniel. Something about his whole situation is so bizarre. He was forced into working for Lady Dragon by threatening his whole family. He was so young. I wish I could have helped him. Him and Cameron before it was too late. Discovery 4. One of our automatic doors can push you through its walls if you stand in between them. This led me to making an exit chute so people can escape. It's very strange. I didn't know physics worked like this. So that, my friends, is a hint. Volume 3. So now we have to go look for Volume 3. This time we don't know the height. So we must now go and find this third one. So let's go ahead and do so. So this time we're going to have to go back in the house. There are many entrances. So, yeah. Let us go this way. Let's put in our code again. There we go. Let's open this up. Oh, I have a runny nose. Alright. Now this. So this door right here. Ooh. Alright, come on. There we go. So now we're here. And here is our book. Book of Thoughts and Discoveries, Volume 3 of 3. Thought 5. I'm standing here at a bridge contemplating my life. How Jade and I were just innocent tweens. How Daniel got forced into working for the End. Just for his whole family to get killed anyway. This is what breaks me. He would have had done anything for his family. Anything. Him and Cameron both were just trying to train us. They knew we couldn't beat them, or at least they wanted us to. Or they knew we could beat them. Discovery 5. My final discovery of this series is the craziest one. As previously stated, Daniel and Cameron both wanted to find the one. They trained us to become better warriors. They attacked our original base with wardens, just to train us. They both desperately wanted the end to fall. They will get their wish. I will smite that dragon and liberate this world along with my fellow members, Jade, Jesse, and Jaden. Thank you all for your hard work. So as you can tell, there's a secret fourth one. This one has 2 hidden. Now, we've already actually been past it before, so let's go through this dig out here. I'm going to go all the way up. And here's our little secret exit. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to go all the way back to our library. So, there's a little secret door here. And here we are. Volume 4, Hidden. After years of research by Jade and myself, we have finally done it. The ability to time travel. Well, sort of. We now have the ability to speed the spinning of the Earth by 200 seconds per second, if that makes sense. This was achieved by using a very complex device we dubbed a command block. It was invented by our engineer. The sheer coding and signal strength is unlike anything ever witnessed before. He did stay locked down in his room, quote-unquote, if you can even call it that, for a very long time, maybe a week or two. The end fight is drawing closer with each and every day. I can feel her presence growing stronger every day. I know deep down her next attack will be the last. She will kill us all if we don't act. In 1 month, we will start our search. Her influence will not grow to dangerous levels for at least another 6 months. We will find more uses with redstone and command blocks to truly make our thriving community more modern. That's it for the thoughts and discoveries. There are 3 more books to read. So, 2 more books. We have to learn about Mr. Smith before we can reach the final chapter of the series. So, now we're going to go over here back to our vault. And this is where Mr. Smith's story will be told. But I think the code is this. Yeah, alright. So now let's go in. It's been a while since I've been here. So we're going into the Aqua Sanctum for this. Oh, wow, that scared the crap out of me. It's going so fast. How many hours a second is this? Oh, wow. This NVIDIA app is a lot better than the GeForce Experience. They released a new app. That's really cool. Okay. Oh yeah, we have to read this first. Trash can. Sit down. The Story of Mr. Smith, Part 1 of 2. The Rise of Mr. Smith. Weeks have passed since our clash with the Wither. Things were calm. Too calm. The type of calm that appears in the middle of a deadly storm. One day, a man wearing a mysterious red cloak appeared before Jade. He introduced himself as Mr. Smith. She took a step back and asked why he was there. Mr. Smith just stood there with a soulless look. He finally said, "I am here on behalf of Lady Dragon's son." Then he stepped closer, inching toward Jade with a grim smile on his face. Even if you are successful in killing our master, the Age of Darkness would still only be postponed at best. Jade was confused. She uttered, "Why not? If she's dead, who's in charge?" Smith steps back. "Do you remember what that traitor said to you before his death?" Jade remembered Cameron's warning about the 3 sons in training. "My orders come directly from Lady Dragon's eldest son, who receives them from the lady." Mr. Smith would wreak havoc on the CBW by fatally wounding the PC girl, the girl who makes PCs. We named her Bishop. I don't know why I called her PC girl in this. And almost taking out Eduarda. Luckily, the beacon healed the wounds. I spelled it right here. The wounds of the fatally wounded member before she could die. Mr. Smith's final appearance was when he revealed he was the one to destroy Eduardo and Eduarda's village. Eduarda is Eduardo's son. "We are almost ready to take on Lady Dragon. In 2 days, we will eliminate her and rid the world of her presence. However, I fear that Mr. Smith has a plan. Even if we defeat Lady Dragon, we aren't out of the woods yet. There are 3 more Ender Dragons out there just waiting to attack one day. Mr. Smith is extremely dangerous. His power is so great. He is used as a portal to transmit the dragon's power to the real world. The CBW thought it was over, but in reality, we probably have years of war left. We cannot let the public know about this." Alright, there's our first story. That all happened before Lady Dragon's defeat. Now in the sky. The Story of Mr. Smith, Part 2 of 2. This is a longer one. The Fall of Mr. Smith. Almost 2 decades have passed in between books. Information may be spotty. 17 years passed with no sighting of Mr. Smith after Lady Dragon's defeat. Sighting of Mr. Smith. After Lady Dragon's defeat, the world was at peace. No more did the people have to worry about a foul creature eating them or enslaving them, and even murdering them just for the fun of it. Families could go outside, play games, play sports, and much, much more. The CBW took the time to expand its base with new buildings and townhouses. Jade and Carter had a son named Jeff, and there was a girl named Journey who was born as well. Mr. Smith had been scheming behind the scenes for almost 20 years, and 2 weeks before his next attack, he started spying on the CBW base. He watched as the days went by, waiting for the perfect moment. On the final day, Carter was alone at the base. Mr. Smith wasted no time in swiftly striking down Carter in one fell swoop, not even giving him the time to notice his presence. Jade heard the commotion as she was returning home from hunting. She saw Carter laying in a pool of his own blood. However, there was no time to grieve as Mr. Smith came from behind and tried to do the same. Luckily, she heard him and got out of dodge. He stared her down and started approaching her, waiting for her to draw her weapon. Jade, knowing there was nothing she could do, and also believing that he had already killed everyone there, decided it would be best to turn and flee. She felt absolutely horrible. The chance that there still could be people alive there haunted her. Eduarda and Jeff, who are all grown up now, 25 and 17 in that order, came back a few hours later to find an empty blood stain where Carter's body was at. 2 months passed, and both Jeff and Eduarda agreed that they needed to start looking for Jade and Carter. Jeff put one of the highest-ranked diplomats in the CBW in charge on their extended leave. After weeks of searching, they set up camp. That's where the third world comes in, right there. The place where they set up camp. Seeing that Jade's last location was nearby, it was a beautiful home, and Jeff even made a few amazing breakthroughs in Jade and Carter's technology. These breakthroughs include a lockable door with a key card, compact sliding glass doors, redstone free, the ability to create floating islands. There were a bit more, but these three were by far the biggest. Eduarda and Jeff had no idea that the entire time they had been traveling, Mr. Smith had been keeping a close eye on them, following them the whole time. He made his presence known by setting their house on fire, hoping they would perish in the blaze. However, both attempts resulted in failure, and the house was just patched up and fixed. Mr. Smith would now play even more dirty. Eduarda and Jeff went out to go look for the spruce wood, as Eduarda wanted to build something unique. Unfortunately, they were unsuccessful, and Eduarda wanted to go home. Jeff, on the other hand, wanted to make sure she got the spruce, so they split up. This would prove to be fatal. When Eduarda got back home, Mr. Smith ambushed her, ending her in the same manner as Carter. Jeff got home a few hours later, also with no luck in finding spruce. He realized Eduarda had not come home yet, but before he had time to process this, he heard a very high-pitched scream. He dashed outside, ready to help Eduarda, but what he saw was a former childhood friend standing over the body of Eduarda. This was a major turning point in Jeff's life. "Jeff!" Journey screamed. "Where have you guys been? I've been so worried. And what happened to Eduarda?" Jeff was just as clueless. Jeff and Journey would go on to give Eduarda a proper burial. Almost a year passed after this, and there were a few minor Smith sightings. Also the hope in Jeff that they would find Jade and Carter dwindled more and more every day. However, he had his mind on Journey a lot, and Journey had Jeff in her mind as well. They eventually, of course, started dating. Journey found a weird sign under a frequently visited cave with potential clues on how to find Jade. It was a special writing only taught to a few girls by Jade, like Eduarda and Journey. She didn't tell Jeff anyway, because she wanted to know if it was Jade for sure. She went, and indeed it was Jade. She rushed back to Jeff, and they both headed to where Jade's spot was. However, in the midst of their travels, they saw Mr. Smith, who attacked them with a crazy beast. It was a mutated creeper who could shoot bombs at free will. They both were able to dodge its attacks and slay the beast. By the time they were ready for Smith, he had been long gone. They continued pressing forward and ran into yet another crazy mutated foe. This one could protrude the ground with spikes from underneath, making this a dangerous mutant. He was believed to be a zombie mutant. However, Journey and Jeff overcame him too, and finally arrived at the spot marked on Jade's map, or Jade's clue. They looked closely at the next clue, which showed an arrow. They turned the corner and saw Jade. However, they were just the tiniest bit late as Mr. Smith jumps up from behind, attempting to take Jade out. Jade, with her increased reflexes, dodged the attack with ease, and her anger and rage towards Smith for taking the life of her husband dished out massive attacks, ripping him to shreds. He fell on his knees and pleaded for her to wait. He revealed that he was the one keeping the end and the real world connected, saying his body acted as a portal for the Ender people's magic. This infuriated Jade more, as they didn't even need to defeat Lady Dragon or continue the years-long search for her sons. Jade raised her sword, looking at the true fear on Mr. Smith's face. With one final swing of her enchanted blade, she took out Mr. Smith and severed the last connection between the End and the real world. There's one more part to the story that must be told. 6. Final chapter. All these years went by. Wars, death, famine. All these things have been prominent the last 50 years. It all started by a mistake that enabled connections to the end in the overworld. Much has been learned and is documented in books across the CBW base. Oh, there is one more book I actually have to show you guys now that I think about it. Before we read that. I'm really glad I caught that. Oh, I went the wrong way. Here we are. The history of the CBW warriors and tales of darkness are tales of darkness, greed, hatred, and so forth. The things people did to achieve their goals were frightening and just outright demented. Mr. Smith, a self-proclaimed cleanser of this world. This was a man of pure dedication, a man set on setting the world right in his own twisted way. Carter, one of the two founders of the CBW, was a child when the apocalypse started. Things drove him mad and he became power hungry. The first few years were dark for the CBW as Carter purchased workers who worked very hard and were thrown into a cell. A lot of these people were from enemy countries, but that didn't make this any better. Jade met someone in the worker who she fell in love with. This resulted in Carter coming back to his senses, and after a long period of time, he became a righteous leader, and CBW was founded. Jade, the second founder of the CBW, had a much lighter backstory, at least in the sense of her as a person, not so much her actual past, which she has a dedicated book describing. She led the business side of things and helped form treaties with other nations. The CBW had to exterminate many villages in order to contain threats, and they had to bomb villages full of innocent people to stop infections from spreading. This is something that obviously has been hidden from the public. Indeed, these times are in the past, but it goes to show the nature of humanity. This leads to my last story. Mr. Smith was a former member of the CAC, Coalition Against Criminals. He was an investigator working with fellow employee Carter. There was an investigation. Carter, this is one of those moments where I think the story is kind of like contradictory or doesn't make any sense, because how am I going to be working for the CAC at 12 years old? Or 11 years old? But in this fictional world, I guess we'll just roll with it. You know, whatever. There was an investigation going on regarding the passing of 4 victims. Carter and Smith were both in charge. They went to the crime scene and saw a portal open. It was indeed a portal to the end. Smith and Carter look in shock as a weird figure in the shape of a bat reaches for Carter, presumed to be Lady Dragon. He grabs Mr. Smith by his arm and throws him right into the portal, having no regard for his life. Before Carter could turn around, the portal had closed. Carter would never tell anyone about the secret, and Carter immediately knew the trouble he was in when he saw Smith years later, acting as a portal to the Lady's magic. Mr. Smith got his revenge on Carter, though, but before he could get his revenge on Jade too, he was killed and his body burned. The CBW had some dark moments, but without them, times would be much worse now. Would be much worse than they are now. Assuming you read this, you survived the test of fire. My jaw hurts from reading so much, so I might just show chapter 6, and you guys can read it yourselves. Yeah, that part of the story makes no sense. Like, if we were 11 or 12 when the apocalypse started, and I'm working as an investigator, it makes 0 sense, but we'll just roll with it. I'm going to skim through this book, and I'm sorry, I know I read all of them, but my jaw's killing me. So I'm going to skim through it, and you guys can pause to read it if you wish. Okay. Alright. That is it for the books. So when I made that cut to the video, Jade actually came onto the server and I think built the jail. Yeah, it's small right now. Wow, she did fucking great. Holy crap. Jade is such a great builder. Wow, this is fantastic. Obviously, it's a little unrealistic because of the buttons. You know, obviously prisoners can't just leave their cells, but that's for the sake of convenience. Alright, and now there is one more place I would like to show you that I didn't show you right away, because this is also a new thing. So I showed you the CBW, like the store, the police station, the fire department. But now I'm going to show you the prison that we built in the Nether. And then after that, I am going to show off the 2 other worlds, and that will conclude today's video. What the fuck am I doing? I gotta get into the house. Are. First, let me show you. Yeah, this is the whole thing. We built it inside of the Nether. So yeah, now let's show you guys interior. So we built one prison. We didn't build 2 separate ones for women and men. We just built one. This is the women's prison, and over here is the men's prison. So let's start with the women's. So yeah, as you can tell, it's definitely a lot more intense, bigger. There's a single shower. Jade also built majority of this. I helped with this one, though, but Jade did a lot better than me. These are visitation rooms. Here's a cafeteria. These are the men's cells. And then out this way is the basketball court. Now the women do have to go through the men's prison to get here, but we have guards, you know, keeping watch at all times, so yeah. And usually the women go out, like the women go out, and then after the women go out, the men go out. So that's how we run things in the CBW prison. Now, when you're in the Nether, if you escape the Nether, we don't care. But obviously, since the portal's right there, we obviously keep it locked down like Fort Knox. So yeah, this is our prison. And that, my friends, is the story of the CBW. Now, we can make a quick exit over here. And yeah. Now, we're going to go and check out the other world. So, this right here is the vacation house that we built when looking for Jade after Mr. Smith killed Carter, or quote unquote killed Carter. So here we are. I'm going to show you guys the clue Jade left for us. This is where Eduardo died. I believe there's a cave nearby. Yeah, I think it's this one. Maybe? I don't know. It's been like over half a year since we've done this world, but yeah. Here is the house. And that's the Sky Island that Jeff discovered how to do. Lockdown, property of the CBW. Have our little dog there. Trash can. It's a very nice house. And then this was a bedroom at one point, but now come down here. This is where Jade and I slept. Or where Journey and Jeff slept. Yeah, that's this house. Oops. Okay. And now... Oh, wait. It doesn't matter. This is the world Jade and I first started playing on. And also where the CBW story began. Alright, so this is where everything started. That's the portal we got sucked into when we fought the first Ender Dragon. So yeah, this is a very early... This is basic. So this base right here is basically the prototype of what the modern day CBW would become. Because as you know, we have interconnected basements and all that wonderful jazz. But this is our friend Izzy's house, and this is our house. So we will take a look in here first. This is our house of pets. So you put all your dogs in here. This is the dog house. We have all three of our dogs separated. And this right here leads into the connected basement. This had a very early prototype of connected basements, meaning, and this world hasn't really been touched at all since like the summer of 2023. So I don't remember a lot. So in here we have all these dogs. This is the bedroom. Some of the stuff is made from cobblestone. I have no idea why. Alright. This is our little garden. Now it's time to explore our house. So, here we are. This is the first level of the house. This is a little doggy door.
Up here is the second story of our house. As you can tell, we defeated the Wither on July 11th, 2023, and we killed the Ender Dragon on July 14th, 2023. Up here will be Jade's bedroom. Ignore that. Very beautiful. And this is my bedroom. So, if you couldn't tell, this world was made before Jade and I, in real life, not in-game, in real life, started dating. So, we kind of still had our rooms separate. But, yeah, my room is a completely separate part of the house over here. And then, once you go up these stairs, this is Jade's bedroom. Big panties? What the fuck? Carter was here. Wow. Jade, you're a bully. And then one final thing to show you is our basement. So yeah, if you couldn't tell, we didn't spend as much time here. We spent about 2 months in this world, I believe, just about. Over here. Oh, that scared the crap out of me, low key. Actually, I will read this book to you real quick. It's very short. We are going to relocate. Things haven't exactly been perfect. The end fight was rough, to say the least. We have people seeking revenge, even in the demon-free world. We will leave everything behind and head south. The warmer weather will do us good. 9/14/20. So obviously the dates that you saw with so canonically this all took place in 2020. But the dates you saw on that on the place where the Wither and Ender Dragon were defeated, that was like the real dates, like the real dates that we killed the dragon and stuff. Because we really didn't start fabricating us, like we did role play, yeah, but we didn't really start fabricating a story until the next world. So this is, oh yeah, I forgot. This is my bedroom, but this up here is the extension of it. So I had a pretty damn big bedroom, but yeah. Now there is one more thing I need to show you guys, because you know how the house is so the house in our main world, it's all interconnected by basements. So in the basement you can access like 3 of the houses, and it's, you know, there's a bunch of rooms interlinking in the basement and all that stuff. We did have a very early concept of that in this house, which was this. Very minimalistic. So as over here was that prison we read about in the where Carter kept all of the workers, quote unquote, and very messed up. There used to be another portal here, but it was taken down. And yeah, this was a very messed up place once upon a time. This was that girl Cremfish was her name. This was her cell. Obviously it was broken. And then over here will be Izzy's house. This is a little storage room for her. And yeah. So now we're going to leave. I'll change it back to our regular world. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. The story might have been a little cringe, and I suck at reading, so I'm sorry you had to hear me, trip over my words and stuff, but thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you stuck through till the end, I really appreciate it. More videos coming soon, and I will see you guys in the next one.